Barrister Salman is here with us on Policy Wire. So please, tell us, why is there a hue and cry and a narrative of political victimization over the punishments for the May 9th attacks?
Well, I think the question is predicated on the basis that the PTI as a political party is being targeted. That criticism in and of itself is very unfair, because the cause of the PTI's issues is the coordinated attacks around the country on the 9th of May. That gave rise to serious national security concerns. You had coordinated attacks on Jinnah House in Lahore, the ISI office in Faisalabad, the Askari Towers in Lahore, an Air Force facility, and the GHQ. When attacks took place in the US on Capitol Hill, all the perpetrators were taken to task, and similarly in the UK. When there were riots in 2011, of the 2,138 people sentenced, 66% received immediate custodial sentences, the average period for which was 17.1 months. If we go into examples, a 23-year-old with no prior convictions was sentenced to 6 months for stealing a £3.50 bottle of water. A 22-year-old was sentenced to 16 months for stealing ice cream. A 48-year-old was sentenced to 16 months for stealing donuts. And I think a mother of two was sentenced to 5 months for accepting looted shorts. And in another example, 2 young men were sentenced to 4 years each for attempting to incite a riot on Facebook. In 2022, 5 people were arrested in the UK and prosecuted for peaceful climate change protests where they blocked the M25 motorway. 4 were sentenced to 4 years imprisonment and 1 was sentenced to 5 years. And these were the longest sentences ever given to non-violent protesters in the UK, and a UN rapporteur even commented that this should not happen, or I don't know, I think the words were, this should not be acceptable in a democracy. I mean, in that case, they were non-violent protests. What we have here are coordinated attacks on national security assets and military installations. So if you consider the punishments meted out in the UK or the US, what's happening here is not out of the ordinary. In fact, if 2 young men can receive 4 years for inciting a riot on Facebook, or 4 protesters can receive 4 years of imprisonment for non-violent climate change protests, just imagine what punishment would be meted out to people over here who would attack national security assets. And despite the severity of the matters, the courts of Pakistan have accommodated the PTI leaders by providing blanket bails for future alleged offences. Prior to this, I had never heard of blanket bails in future cases, so I think the courts have been more than accommodating. So it would be unreasonable to suggest that there is political victimization as such. Only on a comparative basis, the treatment in Pakistan is frankly a light touch.